Nice.
All right, everybody, let's do our first cocktail. Now, this cocktail was invented in the 1800s, actually, in bourbon country, Tennessee, I believe. That's what it was. So what's nice about that is we know exactly what liquor to go in there traditionally, and that is be Tennessee bourbon. But I'm from the Midwest, so we're going to do it our way. I'm going to actually let's make it 3 different ways. How about that? Sound good to you guys? We're going to do it the sweet way, the sour way, and the traditional way. So if you guys like your old-fashioned, sweet, sour, traditional, I got a recipe for all 3. So let's get started. First thing we're going to need are some glasses. Traditionally speaking now, we're going to need some ice. So let me go get some ice. All right, guys. So traditional glass, I like the rocks glass for this. Obviously, this is the best choice for it. Let's do this. We're going to start with some good old-fashioned fruit prep. All right, we're going to need to cut up some fruit. Right here is just your standard orange. Nothing too fancy there. All right, so when we talk about muddling, first things first, we're going to need a good old-fashioned muddler. All right, so first steps first, we're going to put our oranges in the glass. We're going to need some cherries, right? Some delicious, delicious cherries. These ones I got the Luxardo. These are the fancy cherries. So make sure you use fancy if you want to impress your guests. I'm always trying to impress people because I love people. Let's go. Let's do this. So I like throwing a cherry in each one. Again, this part of the recipe is the same for all 3 different cocktails. All right. Now, all 3 are going to need bitters. Now, bitters, less is more with these. You're not going to want to pour a ton in there. Really, when you work with bitters, it's a dash. It's a dash motion. So we're going to do 3 dashes each. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfecto. All right. Time to muddle. So when you muddle, really what you're trying to do is just release a lot of the oils from the orange skin and get all those juices together. All right, so muddling complete. For our traditional, we will use traditional whiskey. This will be our traditional guy right here. And we'll do this one first. So with the traditional, you're going to also have to muddle in 1 sugar cube. And for our booze, we're going to use some Buffalo Trace. This is a Kentucky Straight Bourbon whiskey. I like 2 ounces in this, or you can go 1.5 ounces. Either one's fine, honestly. Anything worth doing is worth doing right, though. So we're going to go 2 ounces on this one. What I got in my hand is called a jigger. I hope I pronounced that phonetically. We're going to want to mash that sugar cube in with everything. So we get nice and sweet. So sweet, so sweet. It's so hard to do this without music blaring and like a bunch of people sitting here watching me. Like, I know this is like video format. I'm trying to adjust. I'm usually drinking while I'm making drinks, which is probably something I should do. But let's move on. So, traditional. We're going to drop our ice cube in there. Right there. And then with traditional, you're going to want a nice Club Soda. Ooh, fizzy, fizzy, fizzy. Now me, I like to stir it up a little bit. I like to get all that goodness mixed in there. All right. Now from there, we don't need that. Now from there, the garnish. Now the garnish is one of my favorite things to do. I love a good old-fashioned garnish. Let's basically what I'll do is slice an orange in half. And then we're going to grab a cherry. One of those delicious cherries. I place it right in the center of the orange. Like so. We're going to need a skewer. I've got an old-fashioned sword here. And voila. Can you see that? Cherry, orange, cherry. Drop it in there. A nice straw. And of course, a nice cocktail. Right there. Can you see that? All right. One down. Let's do the sweet next. The sweet. So the sweet is so sweet, we don't even need the sugar cube. You could if you wanted to, but that's Cavity City. I don't recommend it. Not approved by the Dental Association for sure. But again, I said I was from the Midwest, right? So with the Midwest, we use brandy. And here we have a beautiful bottle, almost gone, of Korbel. Now, you know we use this bar because all my booze bottles are damn near empty because, hey, why not? Anything worth doing is worth doing right. So let's do, again, we're going to do 2 ounces of our delicious brandy. We already got our bitters in there. We got our cherries in there. We got our oranges in there. It's muddled to deliciousness. Just need an ice cube. Again, I'm going to stir it just slightly. Helps chill everything. And from there, we have 2 options now. For the sweet, many people will use Sprite. Okay? I prefer 7-Up, and here's why. 7-Up, for whatever reason, just to me, doesn't taste as syrupy. It's actually a little bit more refreshing. Now, you can use basically anything that's like these two, right? Something that is sweet, refreshing, and then you have that lemon lime kind of citrusness to it. So for me, I like a good old-fashioned 7-Up on there. All right, so from here, let's rock it with a cherry. Our beautiful garnish cocktail. And that, my friends, is an old-fashioned sweet. So we have traditional old-fashioned. That's where you'll get it most of the time. Good old-fashioned, and that's with our bourbon, our Tennessee bourbon. Now we got our good old sweet old-fashioned, Midwest style with Korbel brandy. And now we're going to go sour. Sour is very similar to the sweet. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if the garnish is any different. Usually when you do sours, you usually have different garnishes for your sours versus your standard cocktails, right? But for this instance, I think what we'll do is we'll stick with the same garnish. The only trick, it's a small trick, the only difference between the sweet and the sour is going to be our mixer. So example, I'm going to throw in our booze. Again, Midwest style, we're going brandy. You could also use any kind of whiskey, really. Blended whiskey preferably, but whiskeys give it a little bit more spice, a little bit more kick. I find that the brandies tend to go down a lot smoother. It's a relaxing drink. Now, some people say this is like a holiday drink, right? The old fashioned. But for me, we got holidays all year round, right? So this drink should be an all year round drink. I think it's refreshing in the summer. And I think it keeps me warm in the winter. So, that being said, for sour, I prefer Squirt. I have a buddy that swears by the sours, and he likes it with whiskey. Just to throw that out there. Shooting that trailer was funny, man. I've done quite a bit with podcasts, but my first YouTube series, I had to have tried about 40 of those damn takes. That was no joke. Just saying the right thing. How do you encompass a drinking show with everything we're about to do? I got so many ideas. You know, I actually bartended for a few years. Had a great time doing it. Now I'm a husband, I'm a father. So when I get a chance to bartend, I come here into my little safe space, right? Always drink responsibly, right? But for the most part, we do this for fun. So let's do a little taste test. Taste with me, all right? So we're gonna go with sour. Try it out. It's okay. It's just okay. I'm not a big sour guy. I mean, it's Squirt. Everything looks delicious, but I'm going to go with an old-fashioned sweet here. See, that hits all the little bells. It's good. All right, now let's try the traditional. Whew. All right, so one thing right off the bat. The Buffalo Trace in there is very powerful. But it's not as syrupy and sugary as these other two. I mean, we did use a cube of sugar in there. With the club soda, it actually gives it kind of a more mellow taste as far as that goes. It's not as sugary. It's a little lighter. But with that Buffalo Trace, whoo, doggy. I probably shouldn't have gulped it. Probably should have just taken a sip, but it's been a long day, right? So, I think if I would have put 1.5 ounces of the Buffalo Trace, I probably would have chosen this one just for the traditional, just because of its lightness. It's refreshingness. That club soda actually does kick a little ass. The sweet is so sweet, but it's delicious. So, I don't know how you guys feel about sodas in your cocktails. I try not to drink a lot of soda. I'm in my 40s. You know, I drink too much soda, right? But I could have a few of those. I like having my old fashions when I go out to eat. You know, you go to a nice restaurant, sit down, you get a steak prepared for you, go to that waitress, or maybe you're sitting at the bar waiting for a table and you say, yep, order me an old-fashioned sweet, make it up for you. It's delicious. So, first cocktail in the books. Here, fun.